Hey guys, this is Lala Legacy and welcome back to another episode of Cinderella Phenomenon. So, let's jump right back in. Rod's expression softens. As you and Em have grown closer, I have seen that you are not like your mother. She speaks fondly of you, and I can tell she really enjoys your company. That's why, even if I do not have plans to break my curse, I will still do what I can to help you break yours. It's the least I can do as your partner. I stare at Rod in shock. This is the first time that that he has ever been so nice to me. Why are you staring at me like that? I'm only doing this because you're important to my sister. Rod turns away, his face beet red. Liar! Rod reaches up to pinch Sebby's face. Ow! Let's compliment him. Who would have thought that you were actually were capable of being nice? What? Was that supposed to be a compliment? Yes, you are always so grumpy. I don't even think I have seen a genuine smile on your face before. I could say the same for you. Birds of a feather flock together, then. Rod stares at me, dumbfounded. I cannot help but smile a little at his expression. Do you really dislike the fact that we are so similar? Rod is still staring at me wide-eyed. You just smiled. I did not. Rod thinks your smile is pretty. I do not. You two really are the same. I take a deep breath to calm the erratic beating of my heart. Anyway, I still want to help you with your curse, Rod. Why do you refuse to break it? Rod stares down at his feet, expression melancholy. Because I cannot. Rod stops and shakes his head. He says nothing else, and I do not probe him anymore, especially not after seeing the distant look on his face. We walk through the corridor and back to our rooms after we say our goodbyes. I wonder what Rod was going to say. Mother, look, Eleanor got me this gift. Eleanor? She is my maid and my friend. Princesses do not make friends with their servants. But she is really nice. She even taught me how to braid my hair like... Those servants are only nice to you because you are the princess. They only pretend to be your friends so that they can have power over you. But Eleanor would never... What reason do I have to lie to you? When have I ever lied to you, little one? You have never lied to me. That is correct. Tomorrow I will remedy the situation. I will hire a new maid. You are not to befriend this one, no matter what she says. But Mother! Are you arguing with me, Melody? No, I am sorry, Mother. Damn, cold-hearted. It has been days since Parfait and Delora revealed my mother's true identity and the inevitable responsibility I am to have on my shoulders once I turn 18. I have been trying to ask the king about Mother, but he is even busier these days than he was before, and it's impossible to find a single moment in the day to speak with him. The fact that I am a maid makes it even harder to garner his attention. When I am not on break, I continue to do my duties serving Melanie. Right now, I am accompanying her as she practices her walk and posture. Ophelia has been helping her, pointing out any mistakes she finds. I know this is hard, or how hard this is, dear. I had to go through this training as well before I married the king. And Melanie allows her shoulders to slouch as she lets out an exasperated sigh. I've always hated these lessons. I had thought my posture was fine. This is supposed to refine it, and yet all these lessons have been doing is hurting my back. Oh, Melanie, you'll get the hang of this. You just need to keep practicing. But Mother, I've had the same lesson before. Why must I do it again? Because you slouch when you walk, and that is unbecoming of a princess. And Melanie scowls at her mother, and Ophelia's frown falls away as she bursts into laughter. Mother, you're not helping. The atmosphere of the room is far from heavy as Melanie and her mother continue to conduct their lessons. It is almost the exact opposite of the lessons I had with Mother. Mother always got angry when I made even the smallest mistakes. I know this is hard, but as the crown princess, all eyes will be on you during the ball. The people there will judge any small mistake you make, which is why you need to be in top form on that night. I know. Ophelia clasps her hands. All right, now to start again. And Melanie groans before heading to the far wall and straightening her back. She takes a deep breath, puts the book on her head, and begins to walk again. The book falls from her head and on her third step, from her head on her third step. She sighs, moves back, and starts the process again. Neither of us break Melanie's concentration by speaking. We stand idly by as we watch as she tries time and time again. I am surprised when Ophelia leans towards me and begins to whisper, Melody, I've been meaning to say this before, but I am grateful that you are friends with my daughter. I look at Ophelia's smiling face with surprise. I never agreed to be her friend. You are not against the princess making friends with her servants? Why would I be? I actually wish more of the staff here wouldn't be so uptight, since I would love for Melanie to be on good terms with the people who serve her. Besides, social status is never an obstacle to friendship. Ophelia shifts her gaze back to Melanie, who is now picking up the book that has once again fallen from her head. No matter your occupation or status, a friend is always a friend. You've given Melanie the courage she needs to face the many challenges she has ahead of her. In a way, you're like family, since you're always around us. Like family! Come what may, both family and friends are there for you and will accept you for who you are. Even before I was cursed, Melanie was always trying to be my friend. That means she knew all along who my mother was and still wanted to be my friend. The thought makes me remember what Parfait told me about Mother threatening to kill Ophelia if the king did not marry her. I turn to Ophelia, curious. Your Majesty, may I ask what you know about the late Queen's rule? Ophelia looks at me quizzically, so I quickly added a thoughtless lie. I was not in Angel and have only heard stories. I just thought it was so hard to believe, what with how peaceful things are in the palace right now. The kingdom was a dark place back then. People lived in fear under her rule. The king had no real power over Angel. The witches had free reign over the kingdom. They cast the fairy tale curse incessantly and on a whim. We barely left our houses in fear of becoming cursed. Mother's reign was that terrible? The king still blames himself for the darkness that befell Angel during that time. This is why he works day in and out to stabilize the country and to put smiles on everyone's faces. I remember long ago how he told me one of the reasons he would always continue his work, or to work hard for this kingdom, was because he wanted to make a brighter tomorrow for his children. Ophelia looks confused for a few moments, then brushes off the awkwardness with a small chuckle. He helps the family in his own way. Is it possible that he said that with me in mind, and Ophelia slipped up? But then, maybe he was always referring to Melanie and Rod. The kingdom's come a long way since then, hasn't it? There are still witches here and there, but most of them don't bother others. I pray that the peace we are experiencing right now will last. I see. Thank you for telling me. It is a bit of a dreary topic, but I'm happy to have helped. If you need anything else, please don't hesitate to call on me. I know it may not be traditional protocol for a queen, but then I do not consider myself a typical queen. I tried my best to listen to everyone here, regardless of what their title or name might be. I can only nod at her in response. Princess or maid, the way Ophelia has treated me has never changed. She has always treated me with kindness, regardless of who I am. I never saw it before because I was always so distant from everyone, but now I see that Ophelia treats everyone here with kindness regardless of social status. I was always frustrated by the servants when they compared Ophelia to Mother, saying she was superior. But now, I think I understand why they would make such comparisons. Melanie dismisses me after my lessons, and I begin to head immediately back to my room. I have just turned a corner when I notice Sir Alcaster standing before me, scowling. "Watch where you're going, child." I quickly avert my gaze, not wanting a confrontation. He always looks at me so strangely, almost like he can see into my mind, or is trying to. My apologies, Sir Alcaster. Sir Alcaster nods his head at me stiffly before walking off. "You are pardoned, princess." I turn to stare at him, but he has already turned the corner. My blood becomes cold. Was that just a slip of the tongue? How else could he know that I am the princess? Is it possible that he is cursed? No, somehow that does not seem right. But if he does not have a fairy tale curse, could he be the witch that Delora warned me about? What reason would he have for unveiling his identity then, unless he just wants to intimidate me further? It occurs to me that Fritz still remembers who I am. Did he tell his father about me? Now I am even more confused about whom I should trust. Melody? I jump when I hear Rod call me. His expression slowly creases with something that looks like worry. You're pale. Did something happen? Would he believe me if I told him? Let's tell him. Sir Alcaster knows I am the princess. Do you think he is the witch Delora was talking about? I whisper the words to him, and he responds by raising his eyebrows, looking surprised. What makes you say that? This isn't just because of the standoffish way he acts, is it? You don't believe me? Rod sighs. I never said that I didn't. It's just that we can't blindly accuse anyone without any real proof. Rod stares at me for a few moments, then closes his eyes, his eyebrows slightly furrowed with thought. Sir Fitzgerald also remembers who you are. I do not want to be so suspicious of Fritz, but I don't think blindly trusting him would be right either, given these circumstances. You need to stay vigilant around him. If anything happens, you could come talk to me about it. You're worried about me? Rod averts his gaze from me. Of course I am. Wow, you're actually being honest. What? Rod glares at Sebby before pinching his cheek. Anyway, I must leave now. I have a dance to practice for. Dance? But you already know how to dance. What do you have left to practice? Rod does not answer and only walks away. I decided to follow after him. Why did you follow me? I shrug. I wanted to see you practice. To be honest, I want to see him dance. I already know that Melanie is very clumsy when it comes to dancing, but outside of the one practice with Melanie, I have never seen Rod dance. Melanie always gloats on his behalf, but I have yet to witness Rod's supposed talent with my own eyes. Our dance together was so short, I barely had any time to judge him. I do not practice with an audience. Why? It is my preference. Rod is easily embarrassed. Rod groans and pinches one of Sebby's cheeks, glowering. Sorry. Rod reluctantly releases the bunny with a sigh. I notice you have been talking more lately, Sebby. Oh, that's because Rod here has been saying things that contradict what he thinks or feels. Sebby makes a sound of defeat as Rod once again pinches one of his cheeks. Rod stares at me with wide eyes, and I stare back, beginning to panic. What's wrong? You smiled again. I put my hand in my mouth, flushing. I was smiling again? I never even noticed. It was a pretty smile, princess, right, Rod? Rod quickly turns away, cheeks slightly pink. I need to practice now, so I would appreciate you leaving. He did not even command me to leave. What a surprise. Melanie said you were a really good dancer. I want to see it with my own eyes. Why, so you can judge me? I am sure that I am a better dancer than you. The scowl on Rod's face deepens. I almost smirk. Maybe he is reluctant to show me, but Rod is also full of pride. He is more likely to show me if I pose a challenge. You didn't even answer the question. And are you underestimating my dancing? The others may have forgotten, but you still remember, do you not? I am a princess and was taught by the kingdom's best instructor. I say the words with pride, and I notice Rod's lips twitch in response. It actually makes me feel accomplished to get under Rod's skin when he is usually the one getting under mine. Having the best instructor does not automatically make you the best dancer. I am pretty confident with my own skills. Say what you want, but I will refuse to believe you without any proof. I still say that I am a better dancer than you are. Rod steps forward and pulls me suddenly into his arms, taking me by surprise. He looks at me, clearly determined. Fine then. You'll have your proof. I'll make you swallow those words with this dance. We shall see. Rod starts leading the dance. He glides us into the imaginary rhythm of a waltz. Even without the music, I am able to count the steps in my head as I follow his lead. This is different from that short dance we showed to Melanie. Rod's movements are graceful, his touch gentle as he leads me into an underarm twirl. When I come to face him once again, I notice the gentle way he stares at me. The usual hardness of his expression is gone, melted into something relaxed. I find myself staring back at him, looking into his eyes. Perhaps Rod does have some gentleness to him. Our gaze does not break as he twirls me. You have beautiful eyes. Rod's eyes widen as soon as mine do. He abruptly lets go of my hands and steps back. I can only stare at him, my face warm. It wasn't me this time. That was more than just a thought, I swear. Rod says nothing, though his cheeks continue to darken with embarrassment. Oh my! Rod and I turn to look at Melanie, who is hovering by the door. Excuse me. Rod quickly walks through the doorway and out into the hallway, leaving Melanie and I alone in the room. What just happened? That was a wonderful dance, Melody. You were watching? I only saw the last few minutes, but, the two of you really did look like a couple. It was sweet. A couple? Oh, you're blushing. I put a hand on my cheek and turn away with a scowl. I am not. Besides, whatever just happened was embarrassing. Do you like Rod? I stare at her. I do not. Also, you are forgetting that I am a maid who could not be with the prince even if I wanted to. He is grumpy and cold. And even though we are not blood related, he is still my stepbrother. Thank you! If Melanie realized how crazy her words were in light of the truth. Melanie suddenly looks starry-eyed, and as she giggles at me. Love knows no boundaries, dear Melody. Besides, he seems to like you. Your brother hates me. Rod can be a contradiction sometimes. Sometimes he says the opposite of what he feels. It's only when you get to know him as well as I do that you realize what his truths are. I cannot help but think of Sebby, who always speaks Rod's thoughts aloud when they are contradictory. He was always so mean to Viorica when we were young. He would always bully her for being a crybaby, even though he cried far more often. But then I realized that he treated her more special than he did anyone else. Back then, I knew that he liked her. I thought that one day the two of them might even grow to love each other, but... Melanie lets out a long sigh as she directs her attention to the window. His attitude towards her has changed ever since he was cursed. Then they grew even more distant when Viorica found a lover. Is that the reason why you have been going to the toy shop with Prince Rod? Because you want to bring them back together? Melanie nods. The three of us were best friends, the three musketeers. It's not the same without Rod. I keep on asking him what's wrong, but he refuses to tell me. He's always been stubborn, but it's not like him to keep secrets. It's really frustrating because I have no idea what I should do to help him. I thought he was just being stubborn with me, but apparently no amount of prodding, even from his own family, will make him budge. Why is he being so difficult? I hope you do not mind me asking, but what do you know about his curse? But that is actually all the time that I have for this episode, guys. So if you liked it, please give it a big thumbs up down below. And if you haven't already subscribed, by subscribing, you're becoming part of a legacy. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye!